Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to my video. I have a short word I want to share with you. I won't be long, I promise. So let's go straight to it. I want to do Galatians chapter 4 verse 22, and then I'm going to go to Galatians chapter 5 verse 1. For it is written that Abraham had two sons, the one by a bondmaid, the other by a free woman. Verse 23. But he who was of the bondwoman was born after the flesh, but he of the free woman was by the promise. And so let's move down to chapter 5 verse 1 really quick. He says, stand fast therefore in the liberty wherewith Christ hath made us free, and be not entangled again with the yoke of bondage. So back in chapter 4, verse 24, he goes to reference the two different sons as being two different covenants with God, right? And those covenants are honored by God, both of them. The first son born of the bondwoman, literally, the woman was a maid servant. She was not, I guess we would say, free. Not to say that she was a slave, but she was a maid servant, literally. And so she gave birth to Ishmael, the first son of Abraham. And he teach that son came from the flesh. And the second son, the promised son that God had previously promised Abraham and Sarah that he was going to give them this son. That son is the son of the promise, the son of the spirit. And so Isaac. And so and Abraham and Sarah, they were already chosen by God. They were not maid servants. They were already free people. They were already the chosen free nation that was going to be the parents of all the generations to come. And so we literally got two covenants, right? And God is honoring both of them. So we now have the choice between the two. We have a covenant of bondage that we can follow and live our lives with, or we can choose the covenant of the promise of freedom and live our lives with this covenant. And so I'm hoping this is impacting and thought-provoking the way I received it. It kind of blew my mind, like, whoa, we got a choice. We can choose to be in bondage. Like, bondage is the choice, and it is. But and free, we can choose to live free. We can choose to accept the covenant of the Spirit, the son of the promised son, God's promise. We can choose that. We can have that. We can access that type of life here on earth, and we can. It's a choice if that's what we want. So what are we choosing? What are we choosing? The covenants of flesh or the covenant of spirit? That's ultimately the two covenants. We're going to live our life led by our flesh, or we're going to live our life led by the Spirit. And so we tie the word bondage back to flesh, which is back to there's a limit there. There's only so much this flesh can do on earth. Only so much. Bondage itself is like you boxed in. There's a bondage. You're bonded. There's only so much you can do, you know. But if you live life under the covenant of the Spirit, there's plentiful. There's no limit. There's no, it's plentiful. That's the only word I can think of. Plentiful. Abundance. More than enough. And God promised us this throughout the Bible, these promises of being fruitful, multiply, abundance. It's more than enough out here. Go get it. But I think we don't realize that that's a choice that we can reach out and take. I think we sit in the place of bondage and okay with the chains and the shackles and the limits that are placed on us, because God is still honoring that too. And so although we know it's restrictive and it's constraints there, but we okay. Because we're not striving, we're not trying to break out the cage, we're not trying to, go above or break through the glass ceilings in the corporate places. We ain't trying to do all that. So we're okay with the covenant of bondage. But why not choose that covenant of the Spirit, that covenant of abundance, that covenant of more than enough? Why not? Just try it. Just step over to that side and just live life under that covenant for a little while and see how I feel. I really think it sets our spirit free. The spirit like, oh, or our soul like, thank you. I can breathe here. I got some space. I can stretch out. You had me over there in bondage all balled up. And now thank you for stepping over here into the covenant of freedom, of space, of plentiful. All right, we can work some things out. My creativity can flow. I can think better. I can see better. I got a better understanding. My knowledge has expanded. I'm ready. It's amazing to me. Like, we have 2 covenants to choose from. So I've made my choice. I've made my choice, and I invite you to come on this side with me. I'm shifting just a little bit to give the body communication there that I'm on this side of the covenant of promise, the covenant of the Spirit. I want to live my life with this covenant. Don't put no shackles on me. Don't put no limits on me. Don't put no labels on me. Don't put your stereotypes on me. One and only recognition that I think would be okay is that I'm a child of God. Yes, I am, And so that it's amazing to me. I hope y'all getting what I'm trying to put out there, because the way I received it impacted me in my heart, my soul. It was like, whoa, really? Dang, really? Dang. That's me. All right. I wanted it to be short, but yes, we have 2 covenants. We have the covenant of bondage, and we have the covenant of the promise of freedom. So which one will you choose? Which one will you choose? I'm choosing the covenant of freedom, and I'm going to live this life with God. I'm going to live it to the fullest. I'm going to maximize. I'm going to live in this abundance the best way I think I can. I'm going to apply that abundance mindset in all areas of my life. Abundance, plentiful, more than enough. Not to come off as in I'm trying of the flesh, of greed, because I don't desire to be of greed of anything. But if God got more than enough, I want to just sit and dwell in a place of more than enough. That's all I'm saying. All right, thank you guys so much for tuning into this word again. Galatians chapter 4, verse 22. Read all of that, go down to chapter 5, and just dwell and let it sit and just and be with the Holy Spirit and just let that resonate in you. You have a choice. You have a choice. Have a good one.